Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's your man James, aka JP, back again with another toy room review, and today we're taking a look at the brand new and updated Blockbuster Party Game. Now, this is not to be confused with the original Blockbuster Party Game that came out probably about 4 years or so. I've done a whole review and deep dive on how to play this game and everything like that. This video is going to be more of an unboxing, a showcase, and kind of showing off the new rules and new features of this version, but if you want to see how to actually play the game, make sure you guys check out my original video on this game. I'll leave it linked at the end of this video. It'll be in the description, all that good stuff. But I do want to take a quick comparison look at the packaging. So as you can see, they're both meant to look like obviously Blockbuster clamshell cases. This new one is done in yellow, and this is done in your more traditional Blockbuster, clamshell. Other than that, they're pretty much identical, even on the back, the only difference being some of the new features here. And also, one thing that I'm a little disappointed about, this original version actually came with a physical buzzer, as you can see right here. And this was about 4 years ago. I think this cost $20 at the time. This new version now costs $25 and does not come with a physical buzzer. Future James here. Correction, this game was actually $15 instead of $25. It was just in the wrong spot on the shelf at my local Target, but I double checked Target's website as well as my receipt, and the game is actually $15. So I can't fault them too much for not having a buzzer included in this, since the game is cheaper than the original version. So correction on that. I'm going to put the original one to the side for a second and just give you guys a closer, better look at the actual packaging here. So you can see it says 12 plus years, and you do need to know a knowledge of English, which is just a funny disclaimer. I've never seen that before. Obviously, this is made by the Big Potato Games company, and then down here you can see the new movie hero mode with a superhero, a Blockbuster employee, and sort of like a knight of sorts. Coming to the spine right here, you can see the contents, which obviously we're going to take a look at in a second, and then coming to the back here, it's pretty much the same exact description as the last one, but you do have the new features with the app, as well as these movie hero standees, which I'm not entirely sure what they're going to do, but once we deep dive into the instructions, we'll find all of that out. That's pretty much it, so let's go ahead and just deep dive into the packaging, see all the contents we get, and see how similar or different it is in the original version. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into it. So popping this open right here, just opens like that, and you have the instructions, which we'll take a look at last. I just want to look at all the contents first, and then we'll figure out how to play the game. And then here is the actual game board, and it's meant to resemble obviously a VHS tape, and it looks like it's going to be the exact same game board as previously, but you do have the nice details right there. And yeah, this is the exact same game board from the previous version, so nothing new or different about that. Moving on, you do have this Blockbuster decal, which is meant to go on the Blockbuster sign, which that sign is meant to go on this pole, and then this pole, once you get it in there, is meant to go on this little thing here, so then you can stand it up like so, and then obviously you put the sticker on there. So we'll move that to the side. That's not really too important. You do have the Big Potato Games sticker that you get with all of their games. I'm a really big fan of that because their stickers actually vary, so I like collecting all the different stickers. And then it looks like this is going to be the newest stuff, and these are the superhero or movie hero standees. So here you have a cowboy as well as a dog. And then, oh, they are back-sided too. That is very nice. So you have the back of the cowboy and the back of the dog. Nice little touch. I didn't think they were actually going to be double-sided. And then you would just punch them out there on the perforations. And next up, we have a dinosaur as well as a fake R2-D2 Wall-E looking robot, which is funny. And then they are back-sided. Oh, so these actually have different expressions. So this one's happy, where on this side he's kind of angry and roaring. And then this side, this robot is kind of happy with the green light. And then you have a red light here, and it looks more angry, so that's pretty cool. Nice variations in expressions. I do like that. Moving up, next we have the knight that we saw on the front of the packaging, as well as the Blockbuster employee, so very nice there. And then the back, you have the Blockbuster employee, and it does say Blockbuster on the back of his shirt, and then the back of the knight. And then last but not least, we have a ghost, perfect in time for Halloween and all the spooky vibes, and then the generic superhero that we saw on the front of the box as well. And then the back sides of them right there. So going to be very interesting to see how these work. I can't wait to deep dive into the instructions. And then next up we have rental cards, which in the original I don't think they were called rental cards. I'll have to take a look, but I think they were called something else. And you have the head-to-head cards here. Are these up? So okay, so interesting. I gotta double check the original packaging, which I'll do in a second, but I'm fairly certain on the original, these head-to-head cards were all of these. Like, these were not double-sided. They had the, topic on one side, and then on the other side it said head-to-head. You'll guys see what I'm talking about. We'll deep dive into that in a second, but I believe these are different. But other than that, it does look like they probably reused all of the cards from what I can see. Maybe by double-siding them, they added a couple more topics. But, I mean, these look like a lot of the same cards as the original version. So, We'll put those to the side and kind of compare them in a second. And then what is this? So this just says head-to-head on both sides. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what those are for. That's interesting. I got to take a look at the original one. And then these are the rental cards, which are going to have your topics right here. And let's just go through some of them. So you got Casablanca, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Kung Fu Panda, Mulan, Dune, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Gladiator, Alien, Anchorman, The Hunger Games, Saving Private Ryan, Fast and the Furious, A Quiet Place, The Matrix, Elf, Wolf of Wall Street. So it looks like they used the same cards. These look like a lot of the same movies. And, I mean, I get it because they use so many iconic movies in that original set. It would be hard to come up with this many new movies. So it just sucks that it is all kind of reused. From the amount of times I played the original game, this new version may be a little stale and not worth picking up. But it's still cool to have on the shelf with my Blockbuster collection. Anyways, yeah, here's some of the rest of the other movies, as you guys can see there. So, looks like a lot of the same movies, and again, these are called rentals. So let me put this, and then we have these little clear acrylic stands for the standees, which we'll get into in a second. But I do want to put this to the side and bring in the original version just to compare really quickly. All right, we're bringing the original back in here. As you can see, it's kind of all the same. And this is a buzzer from a different version of their games. I don't know why it's in here. It probably just got mixed up on game night. But anyways, this is what I was talking about. So on the original version, it says movie. It does not say rental. But on this side, they're all like exactly the same. But yeah, it says movie on this one, and the new one, they're called rentals. So as you guys can kind of compare those right there. So other than that, they look to be all exactly the same. And then the head-to-head cards actually are different. So yeah, on the original, they all said head-to-head on the back. But this new version, you have 2 individual head-to-head cards. And then if you look, all of these had the different topics, as you guys can see here on the original one. But this new one has the topics like on their own cards, and they are double-sided with topics. So let's deep dive into the instructions and see what exactly this is all about and why they made these changes. Alright you guys, so I went through the instructions and they are surprisingly similar, like in almost every way, to the original. One thing I do like is this is made of like a much thicker, almost, it's not cardboard, but it's a much thicker, high quality paper. This original one is just like a cheap, flimsy paper. I don't know if you guys can really tell the difference. I don't know if that matters to anybody, but I do like myself like a nice, crisp instruction manual. But the differences that I noticed, and I can't believe I didn't notice this from the beginning, this is the original board here. And this says one word quoted and acted. But if we go to the new board over here, it's actually changed. So you'll see it says one word quoted and directed. Now, essentially, they're basically the same exact thing. Directed and acted is going to be the same thing, but in the original version where you would act it out yourself, essentially with like charades, this new version here, you're actually doing directed, and the whole point is you are using these standees, so all the characters that we saw earlier, you're using these guys to reenact whatever movie it is that you're trying to do. So instead of you acting it out yourself, which I guess essentially you're still doing with your sound effects and whatnot, but instead of you acting it out yourself, you're using these included standees or characters to try and act out the movie or direct the movie, if you will. So that is the only difference. The only thing that's different between this set and the original set is instead of acting it out yourself and doing charades, you're using, as I just dropped one of them, you're using these characters to quote-unquote direct it instead of act it. So you'll be, you'll have these guys on the table and you'll be trying to, reenact a movie. I don't know, we can do Godzilla. Here we go. So Godzilla is coming to destroy the town. Something like that, That was horrible acting, I know, but that's essentially the only difference between these. Now, is it worth getting this set for an additional $15 just to have a slightly different mode with these little cardboard cutouts? I'll be honest, not really, not at all. But I'm a completionist. I do like having the newer versions of the board games, especially Blockbuster, to add to my shelf. So in that sense, I did need it, and it is cool having a Blockbuster employee. I am going to have him on display just, outside on the shelf and not keep him tucked away in the box. But this version is essentially the same exact version with just a slightly different way of doing things. But it's a slightly different way of doing the exact same thing that already existed. Alright, you guys, so there's my review of the brand new and updated Blockbuster Party Game. Now, overall, for $15, this isn't terrible, but who exactly is this for? Because if you already own the original game, honestly, it makes absolutely no sense picking up this version. I thought that there would be something more, something extra, but all they essentially did was create a new way to do the same exact thing that you could do previously by having these little standees and you basically acting out with the standees instead of acting out with yourself. However, if you don't have the original Blockbuster Party Game, my assumption is that this original version here, the one with the white cover, I don't think that's going to be available anymore. My assumption is that version is discontinued and this is going to be the version going forward. So if you don't have that original game, then I mean this makes perfect sense because you get this cheaper than you got the original game at $15. Granted, you don't have a physical buzzer, but that's not the end of the world, and you have essentially the same exact game except you have these included standees, which if you want to play the game the original way, you can still look up my original video and just go by those instructions and see how to actually play the game that way. So I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't already have the Blockbuster game, I mean this is absolutely a no-brainer. It's a fun game. I can't tell you the amount of hours I put into the original one, and I'll probably give this new one maybe a couple rounds or so, you know, a night with friends or something like that, but I don't think I'm necessarily going to have this as my go-to version just because I don't really care about these standees, and it's just extra pieces that I don't really need to worry about putting together. So overall, if you don't have the original game, 15 bucks, I mean, you can't go wrong. This is one of the best party games that you can absolutely get your hands on, especially if you're an 80s, 90s baby like myself. Definitely, you know, the nostalgia and the movies and the Blockbuster branding, it's a no-brainer. So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with your friends. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Those links are in the description down below. And also be sure to check out my original video and the whole how to play the game and everything. That should be popping up on the screen for you guys to click on. So I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. As always, guys, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you guys next time.